Hi friends, Reno City Council Member Devin Reese here, and I've got one of my favorite humans in the city, our Sustainability Manager. I'll let her introduce herself.
Hi, Suzanne Groneman, Sustainability Manager for the City of Reno.
We're going to hang out with you for about 5 or 10 minutes, and we're going to explore the Discovery Museum. In fact, we're going to discover it together because they've got a great new exhibit that's opening on the 21st Saturday of May, so about a week out from now, and it's going to be really cool. It's high energy, that's a tip. So Tesla has really partnered with the Discovery Museum to bring this new fully interactive exhibit. Tell us a little bit about what you've seen.
So there's definitely a lot of options for kids in here. Right over here in the front here, we have some little dancing guys that we determine they are dancing.
Dancing
yes.
guys.
Councilmember Reese does quite a good impression. There's different interactive exhibits in here for children, parents. I think we all have touched them, played with them already to check them all out.
Not quite, but let me just tell you, this is a really cool exhibit and it's going to be a lot of fun for people of all ages. It's not just for kids, right? And I want you all to know and come down to it that a lot of thought was put in it. As I understand, it was about a $1.4 million investment by Tesla into this particular museum, and the results are going to shock you, literally. It's pretty fun because everything in here was designed to be bilingual, Spanish to English, right? I learned that today and I thought that was pretty cool. Will you tell the folks at home what that's all about?
Sure. So as this exhibit was being designed, interviews were being conducted, they were laying it out over the last year and a half, I guess. Everything that they did, they started in Spanish and then translated to English to make sure it was very clear, because some of this is really complicated information. I think my favorite so far is this one right here.
Well, what's it showing you there?
Oh, let me move this here. So this is showing us the current state of our grid in Nevada. So right now you're on 2020. We're pretty reliant on natural gas in Nevada. But as you make your way around, you kind of see where we're headed and where we'd like to go, and by 2050 be not so reliant on natural gas. So let's see, yeah, that's
so this is
coal.
Carbon and coal,
yep.
Sort of lower, right? Natural gas, pretty high, not good. Renewable energies, getting there, starting to make our goal, and then we get all the way over to 2050, and folks, this is not broken, but you got coal at the very bottom, which is where we want it. We got natural gas again at the very bottom. These are things that are not sustainable, can't be renewed. Now we have renewable energy. Up. It's good stuff.
100% by 2050.
Part of what is very exciting to me is that this particular exhibit allows kids to visually understand it. Kids don't really think about those numbers, 75, 50, 25, but they can certainly understand where the ball goes as they cover it over and it works its way around. I think that's what I like about all the exhibits. Not only are we seeing real people interacting with the environment, but we're also talking about jobs that kids can do, right? Things that can get people interested, and you never know what minds are going to be inspired by the work they're seeing here. Let's switch back around here because we missed a part that I thought was cool, and we'll go around this way. Come on. This is pretty cool, and I don't know all the technology that went into it, but Suzanne's going to show you some of it. It's pretty cool. It has to do with geo-mapping stuff in the ceiling that tells you about the cities of the future.
So what this table does is, as you place these blocks on the table, it shows you related emissions to that technology. It shows you the cost now and then the cost in the future. So as you keep adding these different technologies, we get to see here, and actually I'm going to set it to English just for, oh, see, I already messed it up. Look at that. So set it to English there so we can see what we're doing. So Councilmember Reese just added a large battery facility.
This one's my favorite.
A large wind farm. So as you see down here, it changes the energy mix. We see the reduction in emissions, and then we see what we want to start to see is that cost. Yes, there might be an upfront cost, but the long-range cost starts to go down. So as folks mess with this table and move the blocks around, they can see how those metrics change.
So it sounds like about 200,000 visitors a year are going to be in this particular exhibit. I hope it's 300,000 to be honest with you. But all the exhibits have been designed with that in mind, right? Because it's got to be able to last for many years so that people enjoy it. I'm sure we've all been to museums that after a number of years things start to get a little tired and need to be refreshed. But everything here has been designed for that high traffic interest, right?
Right.
Part of that's about sustainability too,
Yep.
right? So if you invest in quality materials and design, then over the course of the lifetime of the museum, you're really getting that sustainability, right? And that's been your focus. Tell us about some of the projects the city of Reno is even working on that are just cutting edge in terms of sustainability.
So recently, you may recall the City Council approved Northern Nevada's first community solar project. So that's pretty cool. That's going to go over by the Moana Pool. And that will provide shade to the folks that visit the soccer fields, but it also will locate a brand new solar array that will serve the surrounding community at a reduced rate. So essentially their electricity bill will go down and they'll be served by clean energy. So that's pretty cool for us. That's definitely a first for us.
Super cool, and folks at home should know none of this happens without your work. Right, I know it's fine for the council members to take credit for it, but we aren't the ones who are making the day-to-day investments in the work. So you are. The other one that I'll mention, because it's super cool and is new, is bird scooters, right? You see them everywhere, they're flocking around. That's part of our sustainability effort too, right?
Right, so essentially if you bring in alternatives to areas where we're very reliant on gasoline-powered vehicles, you start to see a shift in how people get around the downtown. And actually, just yesterday, I looked at the dashboard and it said people have logged over 1,000 commuter trips. Several people are using the community-based pricing, which is actually a 50% discount on riding a bird scooter. And our mileage from memory was something like 40,000 miles already traveled.
Yeah, I love that, especially if you're going to ride your bird scooter to come to this exhibit. Remember, this exhibit opens on Saturday, the 21st, to the public. We're getting a sneak preview because you've been part of designing this exhibit. In fact, we'll get to it at the end, but you're on the wall and you're part of what kind of career paths a person could choose if they wanted to get involved in this area, right?
Correct, yep. There's an interactive exhibit where folks, well, children, I always say folks, but children, can go through and answer questions about their interests, and it'll give them a whole list of career paths, and one of them is sustainability manager. So I worked with the group here on designing this and designing that kiosk over the last year and a half.
Well, I love that. This is the selfie wall. You know me, I'm like a selfie magnet, but we're going to take a picture of you on the selfie wall with a good statement of interest. This one's talking about a solar spill. It's just called A Nice Day. So I'll get your selfie there and we'll put it out for the world to see. Thank you for that. Let's keep walking. We've got a couple more things I want to show you while we're interacting. My favorite one is the one you're going to see next. And the reason why is because it speaks to me on a lot of different levels. And it is this photosynthesis wall. It's talking to our sustainability. It's obviously putting good oxygen into the atmosphere. It's taking bad stuff out of the air. It's its own kind of filtration system. I don't know all the science behind it because you would. But tell us a little bit about what we're seeing here, because I'm told there's some water elements, hydroponics going on. What else do you know about this exhibit?
So this one's actually new to me. So this was a surprise to me too. I didn't know about this one. But basically what it's trying to show, what the whole exhibit is trying to show, is all of the different parts of energy production, regulation, the technical side of how it's created, and then also how it all plays into our ecosystem, really. Like you said, how plants and trees create more healthy environments. So I think it's an important element to show it's not just about conservation and production, it's also about what we do to restore the environment.
Well, and I'll just put in a plug here too. Plants affect mental health, right? The studies show that when people interact with plants in the known world, even if it's just in your own house, they're happier. So plants make for more happy people. So check it out. We're going to look at this one real quick. This is really a cool one, but this is more art. And it's also trying to explain to folks that when the sun comes through, it can power these little rotating, and they're sealed jars. So right now you can see some are moving and some are not. Of course, that's because light impacts different places at different times of the day. At night, obviously, this is going to be pretty quiet, right? It's not going to have anything. But that teaches kids that solar power only works when the sun's out, right?
Right.
So you got to create it, then you got to store it, and then you got to deploy it. And I think they have a different phraseology for it, but that's my layman's term for it. But now we'll keep walking. Again, a lot of these exhibits are designed for kids and adults to interact with the world in a way that makes sense to them. So a lot of it's very hands-on. A lot of it's like what you might have thought about in the 3rd grade when you had to do that science fair project. If you were like me as a parent and you had to help your kids with their science fair projects, you know, the parents who were neurologists were, you know, bringing in a human brain and their kids were doing interesting things with it. My kids were, you know, chewing gum to see which one tasted better. And this is a good example of probably what I could have gotten through, which are kind of circuits and different kinds of ways to look at solar power, the way that solar power happens. All of these things are connected to positive and negatives. And this is really telling kids, hey, when you interact with the sun, when you are trying to power devices, it matters if it's cloudy, the direction of the sun, the angle of it. Sometimes things take more power than others to run, so you have to make choices, right? And those choices are about how we make sure we're impacting the known world in a better way, perhaps than we've done in the past, right? A lot of this is about change. We want kids to understand, and adults who are interacting with this exhibit, that they can be the change makers that we want to see. So a lot of this stuff looks like things that I would have been very interested in as a young person, but more importantly today, now I want to figure out how they work as an adult. So it's pretty neat. This one's not quite fixed, but this is a circuit board that's going to help you understand how to get through some of the circuitry process, how electricity moves from one place to the other. The last one I'm going to let Suzanne introduce and show you about, but this one's super cool, especially for those of you out there who are fans of Formula One or NASCAR, or just like to drive fast. Don't hold me up about that, but this is pretty cool too. So we've got some cars here that are what? They're charging, some of them, or have?
They're charging. So what it's going to show users of this particular exhibit is you can charge your car and you can go really, really fast, but your car might slow down faster than somebody that starts out slow. So it's just demonstrating electric cars, battery life of electric cars, kind of how they work over time. And I'm sure a lot of kids will love the idea that they can race one another. We did notice this inside track is a lot shorter. Well, they thought about that here, so that's actually accounted for in how fast that car will go compared to the other ones.
And of course, the kid in me wanted to ask, well, are these Teslas? They're not today. I'm told the Teslas are coming, but these are great little cars. And think about it. Adults, kids, everybody likes to race cars. This will give them a way to do it. The next and last exhibit we're going to focus on is this one. It's really interesting, but I'm going to let Suzanne explain it to you. We won't go through all of it, but at the end of the day, it's a super cool way to get kids engaged, and I think we'll see what it does.
So what we'll do here, and I won't answer these questions realistically. I'm just going to click some stuff here to get to the end. But what kids can do is they can say, yeah, I like to repair household appliances, or I don't, and select their answers and keep going through. There's about 30 questions, which seems like a lot, but I think it goes pretty quick. So I'll just answer these here.
I don't know if you're like me, but in high school I had to take all these tests, the ASVAB and some other things that say, you know, what would you likely be good at? Mine always said things that probably I didn't turn out to be, but this one says that based on the answers, you're a social person, you love people, so let's see what kind of green jobs are for you.
All right, so Director of Sustainability Operations, Director of Equity, Inclusion,
Hey,
and
I know
Sustainability.
them. Vonnie Allen, you are a rock star, and here you are,
Yep.
Program Director of Office of Equity, Inclusion, and Sustainability.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Now, if I wanted to go back and said, well, I want to see some others, I can go back and see all green jobs, and there's several listed here. Well, you get here, and here I am. So
Famous. You notice, folks, that I didn't make the job wall, but she did, and that's because she really is the power and the energy making this effort go, right?
Yes.
So pretty cool.
So I'll just read my quote here. I get to talk about cool things every day, new ideas and things we've never explored before. I have conversations with leaders who are learning in the moment. I get to help teach them, bringing in other people to make it happen. And I think that rings true. It's a very unique, fascinating line of work.
Well, and it just goes to show you that not all superheroes wear capes. You're a superhero. Not only are you impacting our generation today, but you're making a difference for generations to come. That's pretty cool. Look, we'll leave you with a couple of thoughts. Remember, this particular exhibit doesn't open until next Saturday. The museum itself is open every day of the week except for Mondays. Check out the hours. I'm told that about 20,000 elementary, middle school, and high school kids in Washoe County School District will have the opportunity to do field trips here. And not only do they do a field trip here, they do a little pre-learning module. They get here and they apply some of what they've learned, and then they go back to their school and do a post-learning module. And that's just to say it's all integrated, right? So if you're out there in Facebook land and you're thinking, hey, I want my kid's school to do it, connect with the museum. They'll figure out a way to make it happen. The cost sounds like it's pretty affordable, and you won't be you'll be better off for it because it's a great place. This is just one exhibit. We're focusing on it because it's new and exciting and electrifying, as it were. But the rest of the museum is also a great place to see. So thanks a lot for being with us on this brief tour of this new exhibit. I hope you get back in here and discover what it's all about, and we'll see you again, Reno.